Welcome to Venture Step Podcast, where we learn from successful entrepreneurs and C-level individuals. Today on Venture Step, we have an entrepreneur named James Carpenter. His business is Rapid Removal, which specializes in interior and exterior demolition. We are really excited today to have James on our first episode of Venture Step. Hey James, it's great to have you on the show on Venture Step. First episode. Really excited. Your business is Rapid Removal. You've been in business for 14 years. You've done some notable projects with Lynn University, the Marriott, Ibis, and Old Palm. And your services, to my understanding, is interior and exterior demolition. Is that correct, James?
Yeah, Dalton. First of all, thanks for having me on the initial podcast. I appreciate the opportunity. And yes, that is correct. We have been in business for 14 years. We started out hauling construction debris for contractors. And as we were building that business, the opportunity presented itself to do demolition for our contractors in addition to hauling. And we started off doing interior demolition and have expanded now to exterior demolition. And there really is no aspect of the demolition services that we do not do now. So it's been a fun ride.
And how many employees do you have at Rapid?
Currently, we fluctuate throughout the year between 45 and 50 employees.
So is the business seasonal or all year round?
It started off seasonal. A lot of the work that we do is in high-end luxury communities that have restrictions on when you can perform demolition services. And typically that is in South Florida. Off season is the summer when all the residents go back to the Northeast. So that's really the ability that the contractors have to get in to these homes and perform construction activities. So when we started our business, it was more seasonal. Now that we've grown into more commercial and industrial projects, we've seen more consistent business throughout the year and less fluctuations.
So I'm on your website right now, and I see for one of your services, it's called Beyond Demolition. Can you give a little explanation on what that is? Because it's not as clear as interior and exterior demolition.
Yeah, sure. We just have the skilled labor that has the knowledge. If you know how to take something down, you know how to put it back up. So a lot of our contractors on site, we don't want to limit ourselves just to doing demolition services. We are a licensed general contractor, so we're able to perform any of the construction needs that our contractors may have on a job site. So we just like to let them know that in addition to doing demolition services, our guys have the tools, the capabilities, and the skills to perform other services on a job site if needed. Nice.
So one thing that I have a different perspective as a worker, because I worked a couple summers, you let me gratefully let me work and make some money before college and during my summers in college. Definitely describe it as a character enabling class where if you don't have character, it definitely gets built out of hard work. And when my first summer, you guys only did on the jobs I did, you guys did interior, and I mostly picked up trash and debris from construction. And then my second summer, I took one summer off, so I guess 2 years later, you worked your way into exterior and you bought a machine. I think it was an excavator, or what was the machine, James?
That's correct. Yes. To do our exterior demolition services, we use medium-sized to large excavators. And so, around that time, your second summer that you came on board, we purchased our first excavator. Now, since then, we've purchased two more, and then we really try to keep those busy. That type of exterior demolition segment of our business has really grown.
Yeah, so that's a great leeway into the segment of the growth of the company. So I saw firsthand you were both taking care of your employees differently. When I first worked there, I don't know, maybe because I was just part time, but like my second time working, you had paid off holidays, other things, and you got moved into exterior, and now we are, I don't know, you're growing at a certain rate. Which segment of your business are you most optimistic about?
I think overall, just construction in general. I mean, I think we have benefited maybe not so much from what rapid removal per se is doing, but the economy in South Florida and construction in general. Construction in South Florida is very cyclical, and I feel like we're riding the high wave right now, and we've benefited from that. But with the natural growth of the company, you are right. I mean, we started off and um, very few employees with few benefits, and as we've grown to attract good qualified employees, you have to offer benefits, and you need to be competitive in the market. So as we've grown and the revenues have grown, we've now had the ability to offer paid vacation and healthcare benefits. We might soon be offering 401k plans. So that's been a benefit for everyone as we've grown. And looking forward, to answer your question on areas where we're looking for growth, I think that as Florida continues to be a place where businesses want to relocate, there will be opportunities for us. And there's a lot of on the single family side, the single family home side, a lot of older homes in South Florida, and a lot of people wanting to knock those homes down and build new homes. And the same thing goes for commercial buildings. And there's always development going on in Florida. So we're very optimistic that things can continue, with the typical pullback that I'm sure will happen. But we're overall optimistic long term that we can be competitive and offer services that will be in demand in South Florida.
Have you pondered an acquisition or a merger of any sorts? Have you thought about that? Is that on your mind?
No. I mean, I think we prefer the organic growth of the company at a slow and steady pace, and that's kind of where we're focused right now. Just building from within.
Interesting. So in terms of growth, how do you maintain or attract new relationships?
Most of the business that we get is word of mouth. That really, we don't do a lot of advertising, and that once again is consistent with our growth plan. It's done with purpose, and we've been able to grow at the rates that we'd like to be growing, and with the word of mouth. So the way you do that is just what we found, the way that we have achieved the word of mouth and getting that, the reputation is, performance builds reputation. So we've been, our focus is to perform well in the jobs that we have in hand, and that will lead to more jobs coming in and new contractors. And that's kind of been our philosophy, and it has worked so far.
That's awesome, because construction, to my understanding, is kind of a tight-knit community, and you have to earn your respect over years, and you've earned your respect over 14 years. So for management to worker relationship or workplace culture, how do you maintain that? Is it like a work, get the job done, go home, or is there anything the workers can do after hours?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I don't know, how much the guys, like, with 50 employees, I'm not sure how much the guys, I'm not as connected to them outside of work. So I don't know if they are, getting together outside of rapid removal. But what we try to do, at least in the day to day, and in our motto, or our motto being, everybody has to work. You have to, do something for a living. So we try to make an environment to where we're happy to come to work, that, this is a place that you want to come to, that you're not dreading showing up at rapid removal. So, having said that, it's an environment where it's fast paced. It's can be stressful at times, but it's set up, and the workload is distributed to where we're all a team, and we're all pulling in the same direction. And from that standpoint, I think we have a very good, work culture. I think we all get along, and we have a lot of opportunities. I try to set up opportunities throughout the week so that we can meet and we can get together, and everybody's really connected and knows what's going on, and we're all lending a hand in different ways. Being a small company, everyone kind of operates like a Swiss Army knife, meaning that everybody has to chip in different ways and be able to wear many hats. So I think with that, there's a lot of connectivity between the employees. So, that's the type of environment we're trying to create, at least.
That's an awesome analogy, the Swiss Army knife. So now to the nitty gritty. What is your biggest mistake, and how did you implement and not repeat the same mistake, or what did you learn from it?
That's a good question. There are many mistakes over 14 years. I mean, it's one of the ways really that you learn is by making mistakes. And I think I wish we would have jumped into the demolition services sooner. I think we were offering the hauling services for a long time. And I think from the beginning, we were requested the opportunity to perform demolition services, and we didn't jump in as soon as maybe we should have. And then, as we've grown, I think the biggest mistakes, or the ones that are most apparent, are learning the estimating process, and what it really takes to get a job done, and how to use limited resources to get jobs done, and so just constant work in progress on those things. But those are a couple of the areas that I think we've made mistakes, and we've learned from those mistakes, and have tried to move forward and improve on them.
On a side note, I thought that was cool that you were cautious when first moving into demolition. There's a story where when Bill Gates at Microsoft, when he first started his business, he knew that he had families working for him. So he had enough funding for a year and a half of salary of everyone who worked there. And then when he brought in somebody with business experience, the person was like, why are you doing this? Like, this is way too far out for capital. Like, we could be doing R&D, we could be getting better talent, etc. But he never regretted the fact that he was cautious when he had other people's lives and their well-being at stake. So I don't know. It's a character aspect, I think, for sure.
It's always good to have a balance between being, too aggressive and conservative. And, it's I think that is a tight line to walk. And I think we lean towards being conservative. So, it's worked well for us so far.
Did you ever doubt that you could make a successful company, or did you have an all-in moment where you're like, if this doesn't work, then we're going to call it?
Oh, always doubt from day one, doubt today, whether we can continue the growth. So I think that's part of the fuel, right? That's kind of the drive is, at least for me, to never get complacent. And I think in the beginning, we never really thought we'd be where we are today. And so we just keep our head down and focus job by job, and try to, work those to the best of our capabilities, and hopefully it'll lead to something better. But as far as, knowing or, we had no idea. And there's always doubt, whenever you're doing new things, there's going to be successes and failures, and you just hope that you have more successes than you do failures.
So your future outlook of the company, do you plan on buying more machines or moving to a new office, or what are your plans?
Yeah, as the work, dictates, I think, if we can continue, and, continue on the path that we're on, then I think, for sure, we're always evaluating newer technologies and newer ways of doing demolition, and, newer types of equipment. And, I'm sure at one point the hope is, and the thought is, that we would expand out of our current facilities to a larger one. And, that's a year over year evaluation to see where things are. And, but always looking, we're definitely of the mentality that we'd like to grow from where we're at today.
Where do you put your excavators? Because you said earlier in the show that you have 3. So are they always on the job, or?
They are typically when things are going well, they go from job to job. We do have a yard that that we take the excavators when there's any downtime.
Is that just rented, or is?
Yeah, it's rented. It's an offsite. It's not on where our offices are. It's at an offsite location that we rent.
It's an amazing time nowadays when the economy maybe have a downturn. Do you plan on how do you plan on being cautious of the outlook of the economy?
I think we just take our conservative approach and work with what we have in our hands, and not overextend ourselves is what we're most focused on right now. I think that's the best course of action, at least what we've determined as a team. Take advantage of opportunities where there's value, and not try to press too hard. I think I mentioned in the beginning that we take a very the mentality of like the grow from within, a slow growth approach is one that has suited us well in the past, and I think if we stick with that plan, we can be in a better position to weather any downturn.
James, I'd like to thank you for being on today's show. It's our first episode, and I think that it's awesome that you're willing to take time out of your day to educate other people and give them an idea or a critical think, wow, what direction are they going in, and what direction would they want to go in? And so I would just like to give you the opportunity to tell the listeners the best way to reach you, and give a little reminder / elevator speech of what the company's about, just to give a leeway to your favorite entrepreneur, your most impactful book you've ever read, and your favorite show or movie.
Yeah, I think, for anyone that's listening out there, www.rapidremoval.net. That's our website. That's the best place to get more information about who we are and what we do. And so the final few questions there were my favorite, I think you said entrepreneur or most impactful book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, favorite entrepreneur. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Benjamin Franklin. I think he's a great, example of an entrepreneur that, wore many hats and did many things. So, he's probably the original Swiss Army knife. So that would be my choice there. Books, I do like to read a lot. I don't know if I could really narrow down to one book. I do follow Tim Ferriss. I think a lot of the books that he's put out, and his podcast is very helpful as an entrepreneur, and always he's picking the brains of people like you're doing here. So I follow him, and yeah, other than that, I appreciate the opportunity. I think what you're doing is great, and I wish you the best of success going forward. And I feel, privileged that you invited me on your podcast. So I appreciate it.
The Tim Ferriss book, Tribe of Mentors, is very good and insightful. And also the last question is your favorite show or movie. Do you partake in entertainment when you go home, or?
So I have 4 small children, so maybe like Paw Patrol or Toy Story. That's what I'm watching these days.
All right. Once again, thanks, James. It was great having James on the show today. And I want to talk about 2 things. The first item would be what I think was most influential for me as the host of what he said. And the second thing is I'm going to talk about the direction of the show. So first, when talking to James today, James spoke a couple times on being conservative. And there's a lot of mantras out there. You got to take risks to get reward. No risk, no reward. But James is the opposite. He's saying that you can lean more towards conservative when going into new business sectors or making business decisions. You can lean more conservative, and if it works out, then you go all in, which I thought was interesting. And secondly, where do I see the show going? So today I asked James a series of standardized questions. And for everyone who comes on the show, entrepreneur or somebody who's C-level individual, which would be an entrepreneur, I'm going to ask them standardized questions to gain knowledge for the listeners. And then when an entrepreneur comes on again, that entrepreneur could talk about any topic that they wanted to. So today, James could have talked about how to price out his estimates for construction. So that would only be extremely useful for people that were in construction, but would be something that you wouldn't necessarily know, and you might be able to pick up for your business segment. Hopefully you got this far in the show. I would like to take the time and reiterate that this is my first episode of Venture Step, and if you have any suggestions or ideas, please contact me at venturestep@outlook.com.